Welcome, welcome very, very much to Conversations. I got a pleasure to introduce a friend of mine, Nick Curto. He's a very interesting person. He's got a great, deep, abiding interest in the Urantia book and the philosophy that is behind that. And he's also very involved with an organization called Disclosure, New York, which has got an interesting take on the human condition. And Nick, so good to see you and so good to welcome you to this program where we do want to talk some about what's going on last Friday in Paris when they shot the whole place up and the threat to the human condition of that political context. But welcome so much to the program. Once again, we've done it before, but welcome again.
Harold, thank you so much for your kind invitation. I really appreciate that. We had a great time the last time I was on your program.
That must have been years ago.
It was many years ago. Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
You're looking very good. I think you look younger
well,
than you did.
Well, you are too, Mr. Harold.
What do you eat? I mean, you stay so young.
I try to watch it. I'm 72 years old.
Oh, you're just a kid.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
You know what? I went to the movie theater and I said that I'm a senior, and she said, "Oh no, you're not."
Right.
And I said, "I'm going to kiss you on the lips for saying that."
And did she? Did she give you a big wet kiss?
She did it, but she blushed.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, all right. Well, that's been known to happen and everything like that. So share with us, young man. You're born and raised, that kind of thing.
Sure. I originally was born and raised in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Okay.
My father worked for the Springfield Armory, which is that famous armory there where the Springfield rifle was originated.
Absolutely.
And I went to Tech High School. I was very much interested in the arts, and I applied for a wonderful college in Boston, Massachusetts, called the Massachusetts College of Art and Design.
Wow.
The letter came and changed my life because it said after 2,000 people and only like 120 people were accepted, you have been accepted.
Mazel tov, they say in the Yiddish.
Big deal.
Yeah.
It changed my life.
What was the family setting like? Was it encouraging intellectually and so forth?
They were overjoyed that I could finally get an opportunity to do the design work and the artwork that I always wanted to do.
Yeah, but were they encouraging? Like, was your mother okay?
They both were amazing. My Irish mother and my Italian father.
Wow, that's a combination.
It certainly is.
Yeah,
certainly. They were amazing.
Now, I'm of the opinion that my mother was the best mother in the history of this whole universe.
Well, I would put
I think my mother was the best.
Well, you were blessed. You're very blessed to say that.
I'm making a joke, Nick. I think we all feel like that, don't we?
Well,
there's some people who don't.
Actually, some do not, and I think that's so sad.
It can be a big difference. What the context of the family setting can be really important.
Oh, boy. Big time.
But you were encouraged intellectually and so forth, and congratulations getting into that design college.
It was a wonderful experience. I graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts, and I got my plaid suitcase and my portfolio. I got in a Greyhound bus, and I came right to New York City.
You did?
And people said, you know, Nick, you're going to come back to Cambridge, you're going to come back to Boston because New York is too crazy, it's too high-powered. And
they're right in that. They're right in that.
I will be here 50 years in a couple of months.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome aboard the good ship Gotham, right? Yeah, that's good. That's good. We're a far better place now that you'll be here.
They were wrong. They were wrong. I am still here, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Good. And shaking things up a little bit, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
For the better.
Design. We think of design. I think of Bucky Fuller.
Oh, yes.
I think of James. I think of some of the artists and so forth. Did you have a bent for architecture or for
very much
design?
So. In fact, you're going to see something that I'm currently proposing a design for, which is the Urantia Book Center.
Yeah, we want to talk about Urantia. I know
but,
you're very involved
But that part
with
of that architectural courses led eventually to me designing this proposal for a future center for the Urantia Book. So yes, and it's based on domes. Not Buck.
You mean your perception of the center is got domes?
It would be a lot of there are domes in a. I'll explain that a little bit why the layout is the way it is, but it's a series of monolithic domes.
Yeah, Buckminster Fuller started that Black Mountain College.
Boy,
where he did. Yeah, when the first ones didn't work, he had because it's tensegrity. It's all the way the universe is set up. That tensegrity holds, and you see, it's the most efficient way to enclose space.
Absolutely.
Which is a big issue.
Absolutely. And also the monolithic system is mono being one. So it's one surface of a dome as opposed to the triangles that you were speaking of. So it's a new process that they've developed in Rome, Texas.
You mean over these last few years, you mean?
They've been doing this for like 30 years of developing this architecture, and you can do everything from a small garage or home all the way up to a stadium.
Well, remember that
a gym, museum.
Remember the thing they had in '67 up in the one in Montreal? That was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
Spectacular. Yeah. I was there with my dad. We went there together, and that was one of the things I'll never forget about that wonderful expo. Yeah. What was that Buckminster Fuller amazing American Pavilion?
Yeah, yeah, and he had a whole philosophy behind that, you know. He had a heck of a time as a youth. He was born in 1895. Oh. And he couldn't see hardly, you know. He couldn't see, and his vision was very compromised and so forth.
I never heard that before.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
That was a case, and he was unique and everything. And then he developed very much on his own the idea. The word now that comes trippingly off the tongue of synergetics or synergy is a word that he would give a lecture at when he was younger, you know, in the 20s or 30s or something. Give a lecture and say, "Has anybody to an audience of architects or scientists or something?" Because he was a comprehensivist. He was interested in everything, and he would say, "Has anybody heard of the word synergetics?" And synergetics, no hands would go up. Nobody knew the word.
Did he formulate the word?
His major opus, magnus opus, is synergetics, philosophy around synergetic, the geometry of synergetic. Synergy is behavior systems unpredicted by the sum of its parts. There's something resonatingly more than the sum of the parts, which is a metaphor that you could play with a lot, like resonances that exist in the universe between systems, and it seems to be operative. And so, but he's a major figure.
Boy.
Yeah, and so anyway, he was in his youth, and he also makes me think in terms of he had a view of the universe that was very comprehensive. And it seems to me we've got a graphic up, Urantia.
Yes,
this is a book that I know you're very taken with, and that's a book that talks about the universe in very. Fuller never spoke that way about the universe. He was much more grounded in the normal way of seeing things.
Okay.
But Urantia, or it makes me think of the Seth material, Jane Roberts, or maybe I taught for a year at University of Utah, and the Mormons, Mr. Joseph up in northern New York, and have a view of the universe is very unusual in a sense. I guess that's the same with Urantia. When did you come in contact with that book? And because I know it's informed your life mightily,
and
maybe we should talk some about it.
Well, Harold, when I graduated from Massachusetts College of Art in Boston, and when I came to New York, I was seeking my design career, my creative writing career. But beyond
creative writing as well as design.
Yes, very much so. And my aunt. Sister Cecilia was a nun in the Roman Catholic Church.
Right.
She was a Sister Superior. She ran convents. And she was a wonderful, funny, marvelous lady. I really loved
Irish,
her.
Is that?
No, that's on the Italian side.
She's Italian.
My father's side.
An Italian funny.
Yes.
The Irish funny is different than Italian
Yes,
funny.
it certainly is.
Is it not? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm Anglo-Saxon myself. Yeah. White Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Okay, well, very good. So when I came here, one of the things I wanted to do was to come to New York and seek other spiritual and religious experiences.
Had you been spiritual with the Catholic Church or
I was,
the other
actually,
churches
I was the Newman Club president.
You were Newman Club,
for 2 years there.
Yeah, okay.
In
at
school,
the design school?
At the design school, the Mass College of Art.
So was that part of the family upbringing? Did you?
Yes, we went to church. You know, we were very good Catholics. Okay. But I really wanted to explore other realms. I felt as though that was time for me to do that.
You've done that in
Boy, have I.
Yeah,
have I. And that's one of the blessings of being in New York is you get to experience so many different nationalities on so many levels of people coming from all over the world. Yeah. And I made friends with all the different communities. I love doing that because the Urantia book says diversity is the plan of the universe.
Yeah, universes, perhaps.
Well,
you get into multiple universes, like string theory's doing now. So, maybe, Brian Greene and all that, yeah.
Right. So when I came here, I really deliberately did that. and I had such a good time, and I learned so much. And I eventually ended up in the Unitarian Church.
Oh, yes,
right?
Good old
Which is
Unitarianism.
the smorgasbord of all the world's religions.
That's where I've hung out. If there's anything religious, there's been in the Unitarians.
The All Souls Unitarian Church on Lexington Avenue and 78th Street. It's still there, you know, and it's a beautiful...
They're a bunch of troublemakers, you know, the Unitarians. They're always troublemakers. There's always talking about the least among us and take care of the, you know, and all that. The Unitarians.
Aha. Well, I didn't get exposed to that part of it, but when I went for 2 years, Harold, 2 years every Sunday morning, and I would be hearing all these readings from various texts, and it was marvelous. But I never heard something until one Sunday morning, 2 years in, when he said, and for our last reading, we're going to read from the Urantia book. And
this is the minister.
The minister that was there.
How old would you have been then?
Oh boy,
roughly.
That was maybe
25?
30 years ago.
Okay, so that was 25 years ago.
A fair amount. I'm getting contact.
Yeah, right.
So anyhow, what happened was that I didn't know what the word Urantia meant.
No, I guess most people wouldn't.
But what it does mean is our planet Earth, the people, the beings that downloaded this amazing information, they labeled our planet Urantia, and they referred to it as your planet Urantia. That's in the text.
Like why
you're being your Earth people. Your planet is Urantia.
But it's EU. EUR.
Right, URANTIA.
URAN, yeah.
Right. So, but he read about 2 or 3 paragraphs of this text.
Right.
And Harold, I really
was this a Unitarian doing
the
this?
Unitarian Church.
These Unitarians, they will go look into all these strange things, won't they?
Yes, they will.
They will. They really will.
They're fearless.
Yeah, I know.
They're fearless people.
I think Fuller was a little bit Unitarian in that.
A
lot of good people. I'm partial.
It was an amazing. But when that happened, I was transfixed.
Really?
And I mean big time.
Like a piece of poetry? Like a piece
it
of
was
the first
like when
time you've
something
ever heard
resonates to you.
Or something,
resonates to you on such a level that you actually have, like, the world stops, like it gets very quiet, and you're listening to something and you're thinking, I've been looking for this for many years, and I'm hearing what I was looking for. That's an incredible feeling.
You're hearing a ringing.
Well, I'm sorry, that was my cell phone.
No, that's quite all right.
I got it on vibration.
Vibes the kids talk about,
So what happened was that after he said, you know, go in peace, and everybody filed out of the church, and I needed 20 minutes alone because I was like, oh, whoa, that was like a spiritual truck hitting me.
Had you ever had an experience like that before?
Not that profoundly.
Yeah, okay. That's
a good question, but not that profoundly, and it moved me very much.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a proud gay man. I've been gay all my life, and my lover was dying of AIDS in our apartment. We had
at the time.
At the time.
Do you think you're under inordinate pressure?
Under
that circumstance?
Can you imagine?
Maybe. I'm just guessing.
So all I said was, remember that name Urantia, because when you get a chance and to focus, you've got to find out more about that book. So that was in the back of my mind, but my main focus was taking care of this amazing guy who I loved very much, and he loved me, and it was getting through a horrible period.
Yeah, right. Awful.
We had put a hospital bed in the apartment, and we had nurses coming in and out.
Yeah.
It was that sort of an experience.
I know. It can be very traumatic.
But then Jeff said to me, Nick,
that was him.
That was Jeff, and he said, there's something called the New Life Expo, and there's new information about AIDS.
I think at the Pennsylvania Hotel.
Information. Yes, it was there.
Isn't that where they always have that? The New Life Expo? They vary,
a few different hotels in
But they
Midtown.
very often come to the Penta, right, don't they?
They go there
down
too.
In Madison. No.
So he said, would you go for me? Because at the time he was so sick he couldn't get out of bed.
Right.
And it was you can imagine.
Yeah.
So I said, Jeff, of course I will. I would do anything.
Yeah.
So I went there looking for new information about AIDS research for him.
He had AIDS.
Because he had AIDS.
That was horrible when it was coming.
It was a nightmare.
Awful. It was at that time when it was so awful.
It was the worst time.
It was really awful. They weren't hardly doing any research. They were just letting it go.
They wouldn't even say the word.
Yeah,
as you can remember. Right. And the gay community was saying you've got to do more research.
The caring community, not just the gay community, the whole
it spread out.
Any sentient community.
But we were hit with it first. I mean, we were hit big time, and we lost.
They had a thing downtown. What's that place? That the place is a stone wall.
Yes, Stonewall Inn, where the riot was.
Yeah.
Which started in Gay Pride, actually.
Yeah, Gay Pride.
So anyhow, I ended up going to see the information, get the information for Jeff, and then I got it, and then I see another room and it said spiritual section. And I thought, well, that's interesting. I opened the door, and way in the back of the room, because there were lots of different booths there, and in the very back it said Urantia. In the very back of that room.
Right.
And I thought, well, that's the book. Yeah. That's got to be it. So like a heat-seeking missile.
Yeah, right.
Right? I mean, and they were handing me brochures as I was going through all the other exhibits.
Exhibits other than Urantia.
Right, other
there's all kinds of spiritual
callings of every kind.
Yeah, right.
But I got there and I said, I need to know about this book. I've heard about it. Yeah. And they said, in 5 minutes, we're going to have a half an hour on the main stage, which we only get once a weekend. When you come to that, and then return back here, and we'll answer whatever we can for you.
Oh, I see, yeah. Okay.
Which was, good deal. So I said, of course I will. And I sat in the back row of that big hall thinking, I don't know exactly what this is yet.
And was the hall filled?
And within a minute, Harold, I got up and went to the front row because I was thinking, what they're saying is amazing to me.
Because had you already heard some words that had begun that you moved, or did you move
just
before?
About a minute of when they were just welcoming
You heard
people.
1 minute of what they were saying, say, I'm moving up on this?
I had
Is that what you did?
Yes.
You were drawn?
I was drawn, like a heat-seeking moth in a flame.
That'd be like a scene out of a movie.
Yeah,
that'd make a great movie scene.
It could be.
You think it could be you playing that role? You could play that role?
I would love to.
You ready to start taking some, portraits and stuff? Make a movie out of this, right?
Actually, it would be a good one, too.
What would be the music? What music? Was there any music?
Spiritual, ethereal, celestial music.
There was music, actually?
That would be the background.
No, was there at the time?
No, it was just them speaking.
Okay.
And these were down-to-earth, marvelous people.
Yeah.
You could see the love in their heart.
Right.
It was very genuine.
Okay.
And they started talking about their experience, what the Urantia book had done for their lives.
Right.
And I was quite moved.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to go back there when this is over, half an hour, and I'm going to grill them. And I did. And these people, Harold, now are some of my dearest friends because these were the most wonderful, still are the most wonderful people. They opened their hearts up, they opened up their knowledge to me, and the more they talked and pointed to the text of the book, it's a 2,000-page book.
I've got it on the shelf. It's huge.
You got to read it.
Yeah, well,
when you can.
It's like reading the Encyclopedia Britannica. It's huge. And it's got all kinds of sub-chapters and everything.
Yeah, it is. It's.
You can get lost in that book.
Well, you can.
Yeah.
You can. There's 4 separate sections of the book, which brings me to.
Have you read the whole thing?
Oh, well, 4 or 5 times.
4 or 5 times?
With a group of people.
Have you had time to do anything else in your life than read that 4 or 5 times? It's like reading Gone with the,
well, it is.
The Encyclopedia Britannica.
But, we read it together, and when we come to something.
That's what you're down as a reader.
A reader and believer.
Yeah, and believer.
And so when we get to a section, someone might say, could you just go slowly, you being the group, and tell me a little bit more about what that means? And so we stop and do that. So it's
as a group you do it.
As a group.
So you educate each other.
Very learning experience.
Yeah.
And for some things would not occur to you that someone else will say, I think I know what they're talking about, and then it clicks. And that's very exciting. We just got a small grant, for a Midtown New York City study group for the Urantia book.
You did.
Which goes the first and the third Sunday of every month. And
you've been doing that for a while.
From 12 to 2 p.m. And we've been doing that now for almost a year.
You got a grant to set up a new facility?
We're going to ask on a meeting this coming weekend if we can get another.
This very weekend?
This weekend.
Mark it well. What's the date? What's the date this weekend?
I don't know. Saturday.
The month is what? November?
November.
And the year? What's the year?
2015.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, Christian era. Right. Okay. Right. Just to nail it down.
So we'll say, well, we did a pretty good job here the first year, and we'd like another grant so we could do it. We rent a rehearsal studio.
Yeah, right.
A very beautiful, large one, very comfortable, and that's where we hold this.
Yeah.
And then from 12 to 2 is the Urantia Book Study Group on West 18th Street, right off of Fifth Avenue. And then from 2 to 4, in the same room, we have Disclosure Network New York.
Okay, we're going to get to that.
Well, yeah, but see how that flows, so that you can make one trip and do both things.
Now, what's Disclosure? We've been talking about Urantia. We got the picture up and so forth. But what about Disclosure? You're now also with Disclosure New York.
Right.
What about that?
Disclosure
and
Network.
Also, we were supposed to be doing this program about the awful things that happened in France last weekend.
Oh boy,
when it was just played hell on the political front.
Horrific.
Now we're talking about spirituality and all that kind of thing, but that we wanted to bring some of this down to earth in terms of the normally perceived political nastiness of the moment. It was so horrible what happened.
May I say this on that
By
subject?
whatever you like, yeah.
The terrorists that shot in cold blood innocent people were talking about God from some of the quotes, and they were doing that in the name
of God.
Does that? I mean, that alone just blows.
You think that's the first time an evil is performed by one interpretation of God is saying they're doing it?
This is run through history.
Do you think it's ever happened before?
Oh, of course. I mean, it's all through history.
Do you think it's a theme that holds?
Isn't it sad,
for all the political powers and so
Isn't
forth?
that a sad fact?
God mit uns. In the Germans, when they had the thing, both First and Second World War, they had a book, and it said, God mit uns. God is with us.
Oh, I didn't know.
God isn't with them. God is with us.
Our side.
And people have been saying that for a long time, don't you think? Yeah.
And some of the most horrific
In God we
acts.
Trust, all of these kind of things.
Isn't that a sad fact?
Well, yeah, it is.
Isn't it?
What does it mean and everything?
Well,
What's this disclosure about?
Boy, talk about a misunderstanding of what God is and your relationship to your fellow man.
Yeah, right.
I mean, this is like in the face of everything we know that's right. And certain groups of people, thank God they're small groups, but they take this idea and they kill and maim and hurt other people. That is so wrong on so many levels.
Yeah, but we were just going through this thing. We did it kind of lightly and everything, but that's probably been the case with practically everybody who's ever marched to war. They've marched to war saying that God, whatever the God was called,
is on our side.
Is our God,
yeah.
And we are the good, and we're going against the bad and the evil. I mean, almost universally, that would be the case, wouldn't it?
That's quite a study.
So what does that say about human consciousness and historical process and where do we stand on this year? What did you say it was 2015?
This is 2015,
so
November.
What does it have to say? November, thank you. Late November. Almost Thanksgiving.
I can't believe it's almost the next
Thanksgiving's coming
year.
up for crying out. What is there to be Thanksgiving?
We have a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah, right.
As a people
this
of the world.
This program's going to air very soon after, Thanksgiving's just over the horizon.
That's
so
right.
we ought to start having pumpkins and stuff or something
Some of us have already started.
Oh, right. Okay. Anyway, but I'm trying to get these two things conflated.
But isn't it
your personality.
Doesn't it fly in the face of reason that you can hurt and maim and kill and yell out in God's name and their version of what God is?
And both sides have it. They're both screaming at each other. God mit uns, and they're both.
That's a good point. Right. Exactly.
It's almost like a comedy of errors.
In a way, it's a sad comedy.
A sad comedy. Yeah.
It is.
Do you see what they did in Iraq and Iran? Millions of people, they killed each other, 10, 20 years ago. It was horrible. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't get
No, it's a valid, very valid point.
But that does bring in Islam, and they were Islamic over there in France and everything.
But
so
you know what I feel sorry for? All the good people that practice that religion and are loving, wonderful people, and their families are good families, and that it would be awful if we generalize everything and say we have to not have any mosques in our town.
There are
or whatever.
people who are trying to do that now.
They are.
Do you see they're trying to do
but
that?
you see how
and
unfair.
There's people trying to escape that, and now there are people right-wing, more or less. They're saying let's close that down. Mr. Obama gave a good statement today, saying that's not the American way, at least the right American way. We should be allowing them to be able to come and deal with it and not get overblown on this thing.
Because
majority. That's just building right into the narrative that they want to invoke.
That's it.
So we shouldn't do that. I think Mr. Obama's on the right track there, more than the people who are saying, let's just not let anybody in.
Oh, that kind of blanket statement is so hurtful on so many levels, and it's so unfair to all the good people
It's a theme probably that's been there throughout. Like if you're in the fort and you're going to let the enemy in, you know, all these kind of things that have poor humanity. They've been suffering under such grim conditions for so long. And they've always had to suffer the indignities of a situation where there's not nearly enough for one to win. The others have to lose. There'll always be where somebody has to lose in order for some to win. And you can't have all the people have things because you've got to have a lot of what there is to be able to build something as magnificent as Notre Dame, or something that will live, or the Sphinx, or something. You gather all that capability rather than that could have gone out to feed everybody, and then everybody would have died and there'd be no monument left. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
The capital formation seems to have been necessarily one that had to be built upon the lack of material capability for the mass of the people. Do you think that's part of the historical condition? Do they talk about it in the Urantia book?
Unfortunately, well, they say that diversity is the plan of God and the plan of the universe, which means that we should be accepting and embracing and celebrating diversity.
I celebrate. Don't you think it's wonderful? There's so many different kinds of people. I love Manhattan. Everywhere you go, there's somebody. I like it's great.
To me, that's one of the big attractions.
Yeah, right.
And you learn so much about the different cultures. Yeah. And by the way, you get to celebrate a lot more holidays because there's a lot more holidays.
My God, if you went with every single holiday, you'd be doing nothing but holidaying.
And what's wrong with that?
Might not be a bad idea.
And what is wrong with that?
That might be a good idea, right?
Absolutely.
You're right. It just dawned on me. That might be a good idea. Dziękuję. Do you know what that means?
No.
That's Polish. Do you know Polish at all?
I do not.
What are your background? Irish?
Irish and Italian.
Do you know any Irish?
No, almost none.
Bigaran.
Well, okay.
Or something, you know? No, but dziękuję means in Polish, thank you.
Oh.
That's important.
Okay.
I got another word in Polish.
Please.
Daj mi buzi.
Daj mi buzi. What does that mean?
Daj mi buzi means give me a kiss.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Or
wow.
daj mi piva. Daj mi piva. Daj mi piva. That means give me a beer.
Okay.
So you're all set for Poland.
You better know
that's
which is which.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if you go into a pub, you better know what you're saying.
You're right. Why don't they all speak one language? It should be the King's English. Anyway, so the Urantia is there, and this other thing, this disclosure.
Okay, well, the disclosure
because
network.
I've heard you use the word Illuminati.
Right.
That could be the Pharaoh. That could be the small group that runs everything. That could be the bankers now. That could be an elite that is not taking care of the mass in a way that the mass are able to be taken care of in terms of their capability and all those kind of issues that are relevant to the politics, right?
These are multi-billion, multi-trillion-dollar organizations, corporations, and old families that control the wealth.
And they've always been there.
They've always been there.
Haven't they
have
always
the
been
power.
There? Haven't they been in various ways throughout all of human history?
They decide the wars.
Yeah.
They decide, and
Not
nobody wins
wars.
the wars except the bankers.
Yeah, but what about the idea that you can't just be sending money? You got so much. You only got so much. I brought that up before. You got so much, and you've got to harbor that money that could be going to feed little children, letting them live good lives, all kinds of things like that. The masses of the people, all of who they're just going to die, and everything. And instead of building Notre Dame, you have to take all those resources to build a great edifice that is really going to live throughout all of history. Which is better to have? If they did that 1,000 years ago, you'd have nothing but dust. But now you've got Sphinx, or you've got great edifices and buildings and things that you can say that had to be done at the expense of to build those cathedrals, or Chartres or something, had to be at the expense of letting the people starve.
Major point.
Do you understand?
I do, and that's a major point. Yeah. And when I see, certainly Jesus and his life is such a teaching mechanism to show you what you can do, one human life, or in his case more than human, but what one person can do, what one light can do to illuminate millions. And so and he was not a rich person.
No, I know he tried.
He certainly did. But my point being that he really had his integrity, his knowledge, and his total love a limitless love that he demonstrated every second of his life. Okay, and so when you see huge cathedrals and you see emeralds and rubies and rings and silks and everything on whatever clergy we're talking about, I have to say that rings a sour note with me, because that could be used for education, for food, for housing, for the people who need it.
Okay, so but what about how you wouldn't? Yeah, but you notice they did the same to him as they did to Spartacus. And there are all kinds of people who used to say, take care of the least among you, our philosophers and so forth.
That's right.
And they're roundly ignored by the political illuminati of the day.
There you go.
Is that not true? Is that not the story of human history?
Bingo, absolutely right.
What do we do about it? Does that relate to what went on in France?
I would say very much so, because it's the same thing. Here we go again.
Here we go.
The war machine is revving up, as we know. You can hear it all over the place.
Yeah, I use Chartres, but what you're talking about is war and killing.
Here
thousands are killing, and then if you get somebody who kills a couple hundred, then they make a big thing out of it, but thousands are killed by the people who have the power.
Well, you know, I got to say something, Harold.
Or they have throughout history.
Ashcroft and some of the others, Cheney, were talking about about maybe 12 years, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
What we need now is another Pearl Harbor so that we can then go in and do another war.
Well, you had 9/11.
Bingo, another war, a huge, because that was a real false flag. Because
you think it was?
I do, and a lot of people are beginning to catch on to that. I want to bring up something, Harold.
By all means.
Rebecca Roth was for 30 years a flight attendant, and well loved, and she was also a purser. She was very, very smart. She was retired. She was also a wife. She is a wife, a mother, a grandmother. And when 9/11 happened, in a very personal way, as far as the crew of the planes that were hijacked and all the deaths that were occurring, and it hit her in her heart. And she couldn't, for months, deal with what ended up being the official story of what happened. She said, that doesn't sound right to me. And as a professional...
She was a person who was involved with planes, right?
For 30 years.
Yeah, for 30 years.
She knew
like a stewardess, or something? Or
sorry?
A stewardess on an airline?
A flight attendant.
Flight attendant,
on the airlines for 30 years. So she knew it backwards and forwards. She said, they've got code words that if they're being hijacked, there are code words that will immediately alert on the ground that we have got a big problem here, and it will spring them into action.
Yeah, they would have.
So she said, you're telling, the press was saying that the people in the supposedly hijacked planes were supposedly on cell phones phoning their relatives,
that's what we heard,
their supervisors if they were airline employees. And she said, one little problem with that. Cell phones don't work up there, never have. At that point in 2001, that couldn't happen. That was a physical impossibility unless you were just off the ground. But beyond that, no. And some of these conversations ran 25 minutes. They were high up in the air. So she said, I want to take a look at the transcripts. I want to hear if there are and there were recordings of some of those.
Yeah, I think there were.
She said, I want to hear every word. And she did. And she did that with the Freedom of Information Act. On her own. And guess what she found?
I don't know.
Holes, huge holes in everything.
What does that mean? I don't know what
it means that they were saying things as if they were reading a script prepared for them. They weren't using the code words at all. The people who were the flight attendants, some of whom they said were calling down on the ground.
But what is the point to be made?
Well, here it is.
What is the point she's trying to make
here
about
it
the
is.
Human condition?
She said that the transcripts and then the recordings, there was no airplane sounds. There was no motors. There was
but what's the point?
That they
What's
weren't.
she trying to say? It was a stage
thing? The big
or?
point was that they weren't, what they said they were doing, which was in the air, making cell phone calls to the ground, was totally fictitious.
So what does that mean in terms of the reality?
Well, she did more research.
And
she said, I think from what I've discovered here that the planes were landed and these people were on the ground and they were told to make believe that they were in the air, and they were told that they were taking part in a test that they were taken in an airport close to Boston, close to that area very quickly down, and that they were being said to read the scripts.
Like scripts.
The scripts, prepared scripts, but the people who had written these scripts didn't really know a lot about the airline lingo, didn't know about certain
but
things.
what does it all mean? I don't understand. What is the implication?
It's a fraud. The official story is a total fraud and can be proven to be a total fraud.
Is that part of what they call 9/11 truth?
They're also doing an amazing job of researching that also.
It was all done by an Illuminati leadership element, many of which were Americans, and it was all done in order to gin up fear and to build a new Pearl Harbor mentality
there you go.
For the taking over of the government in a way for the neocons.
So, there you go. So what happened was she said, well, then what airport, where would those planes really land from Logan? And it would have to be quick.
Yeah.
And she, I believe with another person, I believe a pilot, scouted and found out there was one base that would be perfect for that situation. It was Westover Air Force Base in Chicopee, Massachusetts.
All right.
That's the next town from where I grew up.
All right.
So it kind of hit home a little bit.
They were zeroing in on
So
you.
she started researching that.
Yeah.
And you're not going to believe this, but what she found out was the whole staff of that is the Air Force Reserve. It's a huge facility with gigantic hangars.
Yeah.
Hangars that contain all the planes.
Yeah, right.
And that nobody would be the wiser. So she investigated and found out that the whole personnel were told the day before to go home for 2 or 3 days and evacuate that because it was part of a test.
It was part of the stage set.
Right, of the hijack.
It was a set. It was a set that they had to set up.
They had to leave, which meant the coast was clear.
Yeah, it's like making a movie. Yeah, Cleopatra with elephants and things. Yeah.
So with that, she decided to all this information that she was finding.
Yeah.
She talked it over with her husband and thought she was writing a novel about a woman named Vera who was a flight attendant, and she said, what if I made Vera me?
Yeah.
And that I would put all the things that I really found into the novel, rearrange the novel, so Vera, the flight attendant, was doing the research and came up with all of these facts.
Yeah, well, I don't know what the facts are showing, is what it is the conspiracy
it's a huge amount
of the Cheney neocons, you could name them, who did this, and the buildings coming down and all that destruction was all done by people for the benefit of a small political class here in the United States, manufactured by them.
Right. Well, yes, but listen to
That's
this.
That's what the 9/11 truth people are saying, and as a way to take over by fear the American consciousness and have them all dancing like puppets.
Well,
more or less. Is that what it is they're saying?
That is.
Yeah.
And Rebecca did do the novel, and she put it out there, and she got responses from people who were reading this book. And one woman contacted her, but there were hundreds of people, and they said, Rebecca, you've got that right. One woman said, I live in Otis. Otis is right near Westover Air Force Base in Massachusetts, and she said, we never get planes overhead, never. But on that morning of 9/11, at exactly that time, these big planes were going over, and they were so far low to the ground that it scared us.
Yeah, right.
And they were going where? To Westover. They were going to Westover Air Force Base, which verified some of the theory here that those planes, what was going on, right? So now Rebecca's theory is that the planes had landed by remote control, which are built into all the major planes at that time. Still is. You can have big planes taken over by remote control.
Oh, absolutely. And you don't need pilots pretty soon.
You really don't.
You don't need pilots. They get in the way.
And when the
pilots cause more accidents by human error than if you just had it going automatic.
So she's saying what she's theorizing, and she's getting more information all the time, is that the remote control systems went in effect and were deliberately landed in Westover and immediately put into the hangars. And a few people, the people who were the ones who phoned, supposedly, they were told, we want you to be part of this test for America's strength. We want to take you out of the planes, and then you'll be returning to the planes. Well, they took them out of the planes, and then they said, we want you to read this prepared text, which they did. And the people who were getting the call said, I know it's them because it was their cell phone number that was appearing on my phone. right? It was the people who were calling the relatives saying, I am one of the you'll love this. One of the transcripts said, I'm going to say it for me. This is what the guy said. Hi, Mom. This is Nicholas Curto calling. I have been hijacked and I am in the air now. Would you say, you would say, hey, it's me, or hi, it's Nick. You wouldn't say, this is Nicholas to your relative.
You could put out your Social Security number.
but you see what I'm saying?
In the Army, you saw I'm private such and such, and you had to give your number and everything.
Right, but do you see how crazy that was?
Yeah.
The people who were the flight attendants were saying to their supervisors, which they called, we are in a plane in the air. They never said the codes for hijack. They never said any of the stuff they were trained for years to say.
You need better writers, for crying out loud. Hollywood's got to get a good script writer.
You know, I said to Rebecca,
some better directors, and you know.
We had Rebecca.
How was the music? Was the music good? Was it soaring at the right moment? And you know, this is a production, for God's sake.
Do you see the ramifications?
No, I do and I don't. In a way, I'm not sure how it fits into the larger picture.
So Rebecca, when I called her and I said, I am blown away with your she has 2 novels out about Vera and the fact that she discovered all this. But all the facts, she said, have been verified and are real in the book. Okay. So what happened was I asked her if she would address my group, Disclosure
Is that
Network
the disclaimer? Is that or the disclosure?
Disclosure Network, New York, and because she lives not anywhere near New York, would she do it by Skype? Because we have a video projector.
That's good.
And we could project her live.
Good.
And then we have a room full of people.
Do you know how to do Skype?
Yeah, we do.
I want you to be in touch with me in the time ahead because I want to learn how to do Skype. Could you help teach me how to do that?
I would be honored.
Would you?
I would. And you know what?
You're on, pal. Now, you're not going to get out of this.
You got it.
You got to come over. I want you to meet the new dog.
You've got it.
We got the new dog.
Aha.
That dog is funnier than Charlie Chaplin. He walks on his hind feet and everything.
I got to see him.
Okay.
What's his name?
His name, we don't know the name yet.
We don't know the name.
Ugly face, ragamuffin, rags, something raggy. He's a terrier type. Think movies from Scotland in 1940s with Judy Garland and the dog with the fur in front of their face. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Scotland, England.
I do.
That.
Wow.
That kind of a dog. And he walks on his hind legs.
So he's already been trained to do some tricks.
Yeah, but you're going to come and meet him because you're going to help me get my Skype going.
You know, I got to say,
that's
Harold,
something that's that's on my agenda over the next little period of time.
Done.
You may not be able to get out of this.
Done deal. I'm not going to get out of it.
It's on the record, is it not? We got it on the record here. If you try to get out of this, this is a contract, brother.
All right.
You understand? I got an army of lawyers.
We're on video. It's a done deal.
Right.
You got me.
Right. Anyway, listen.
So I got to say that, Harold, when you start doing Skype, and then we can do people doing programs. We just did one from Arizona. We did one from Florida.
Well, we were supposed to be doing a thing with Gerd Stern. Do you know Gerd Stern? I've been reading Gene Youngblood, all the things about the early television, all that, all the old timers. I want to get them down for the glory of Manhattan Network.
That would be amazing.
I want to reach out with the good people here at Manhattan Network. Isn't Manhattan Network a magnificent thing?
Yes.
Isn't it wonderful that it exists?
Yes, it is.
Can we sing the praises of all the people here at Manhattan Neighborhood Network
for
helping to get the word out?
I can't even remember a time we didn't have it.
Cheer for MNN. What the heck do we care, right? That kind of thing.
Absolutely. They deserve the credit for that.
One of the problems is in television there's a tyranny of time, and the time is running short for this program.
Okay.
We've only got a few minutes left, and we haven't gotten a couple. I know it goes fast when you're having fun, doesn't it? Doesn't it go fast when you're having fun?
I am blown away with the fact it does go quickly.
Yeah, when you're having fun.
Well, yeah.
Do you think it goes slower when you're in agony?
You bet.
Yeah, okay. Is there a lesson in there somewhere that
can
be taught by the Urantian book?
There's a big lesson.
I bet there's a lesson in the Urantian book.
That's why I think I've been in New York 10 years when it's really been 50. Really, because I've been having such a great time learning so much.
No, but what I want to know is we had a couple of things we wanted to try and get in here.
Sure.
You had a picture of you had a thing about the Urantian book that is some domes and stuff?
Yes.
Is that something?
That's a video. If we want to
run is there any way we could bring that up?
I designed, this is a proposal. It's going to be something in the future.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to require a lot of money.
Future's going to come sooner than you might think.
A lot of land to put it in. But
here we go.
Well, this is
this got text? Is this got text?
Well, this what we got now on the screen is websites where they can read the Urantia book, listen to the Urantia book, and also there is a 30-slide presentation that gives you the overview of this 2,000-page book that I personally worked on.
It is big. It's a big book.
2,000 pages.
Yeah, it's really good.
And worth the time to do this. Believe
It'd only take about 3 lifetimes to read. I mean, it wouldn't take any longer than the Encyclopedia Britannica. Okay, but haven't we got another thing?
So how about the animation now?
You got some animation or something? Where to get these stuck in?
It was done with a wonderful woman in India that I worked with on this, and it's an idea, it's my design for the very center of the Urantia book center, which I'm proposing would be built one day.
Okay, and, well they got St. Peter's for the Catholic Church, why don't they have one for the Urantia book?
We could run that any time.
If you can run that, then Ryan, if you can. Okay, here we go. It's just got audio, then, right?
It does have a soundtrack.
Yeah, it can run audio too.
Everybody can hear it.
There we go.
Oh, here we go. There are 7 domes.
Yeah, that's good. You got the dome there and everything like that. And that's your concept. Yeah, okay.
The symbolism of that, real quick, is that the middle dome is the center of all time and space where the universal Father, God, resides. In the Urantia book, it says there is a place. It's in the center of everything, of all time and space. And they said around that are 7 super universes, and they're in a circle around it. We are in the 7th. And we're in a place called the Milky Way, which is way over in the far side of that galaxy, of that universe. So 7 super universes. So I designed 7 domes to symbolize that.
Each 7's got a magic quality to it.
It's through everything, as you know. And then the middle one would be, they're saying where God resides, so I would put the temple there where prayer and reading of the Urantia book could be done. So the middle gold dome is for that purpose.
If you're shooting craps, doesn't 7 give you a win right on the first out?
I'm sorry?
The game of craps. Didn't you craps with the dice?
Oh, see, I
think
don't know
if you throw 7 on the first roll, you win.
Wow.
Isn't that true? Do you know, Brian? Ryan?
That is true.
That is true. We get it from the authority. He knows all about craps.
Oh.
You know, and we had a lady who helped me raise me when I was young. She was off bad times and the thing, and she taught me when I was 8 years old how to shoot craps. Wow. And I've forgotten.
Wow.
I didn't know for sure that was it, but that was it. Snake eyes was 1 and 2, 2 and 3.
See, this is a whole...
It's important for the youth to know how to shoot craps for crying out loud.
Okay, I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not going to argue with that. I just want to tell you do we have time to talk about just one?
Yes, we got about 10 minutes.
Okay, well, one of the domes that I'm proposing in the 7 domes, one of them is a welcoming dome to have a multi-level screens talking about the major concepts of the Urantia book.
Yeah.
So they get an idea of what they're talking about, what they're dealing with. But there's another one which is all the art that's been created by people who read the Urantia book and are so inspired.
Has there been a lot?
Oh my God, I was blown away.
Are there any monumental buildings that are inspired by it anywhere that we know, like say the St. Peter's Cathedral?
No, not like that yet. But painting, sculpture, music, poetry.
Nothing real. Nothing physical. I mean, nothing.
Well, sculpture.
Sculpture pieces.
Some of them are big pieces, but sculpture would be some of that has been inspired by the Urantia book. But here's the deal: one of the other domes I want to build.
But yours would be a big thing that people could walk through.
Oh yeah.
It wouldn't be just a little thing. That's
no. This is a huge. It's a complex.
Yeah, right.
It's got a international food court with all different kinds of foods from all over the world.
And
That's
the universe, from all over the universe?
They
got imports from the Urantia?
There is a bake shop.
Is there a place called Urantia or something? Or no, in Urantia? The Urantia book. There's no Urantia.
Not yet.
Earth.
Not yet.
No, okay.
But here's the thing. One of the domes...
Is the Urantia book written forever? Or is it changed? Is it being changed by your
input? It probably
input?
will be revised in about 1,000 years.
Improved 1,000 years.
I
don't think you're going to make it 1,000 years.
We don't know.
Make all those
we don't know that.
But you're improving it all.
But here's the deal. One of those domes.
Is it amendable, I guess is what you would say.
Okay. One of those domes is going to be, there's a description in the fourth part of the book, which is the entire life of Jesus. The entire life, not sections of it like all the other books. This is everything, okay? And it describes Mary and Joseph's home with the brothers and sisters of Jesus in minute detail. You would feel, when you're reading this, that you are there, drinking, eating, sleeping on the mats. You would have such a concept. A wonderful man, designer from Australia, who's a Ranch Book reader, came up with detailed drawings of what the Ranch Book is describing.
Did he take his blueprints or his guide from the book?
Totally.
Does the book explain? Well, there was cows in the corner and this.
Everything.
And the thing?
I mean, it's exactly. You would almost smell the food. It goes into such detail.
Now, who was the guy who wrote this book?
Here's the point.
This book? Who wrote this? You don't want to give his name.
No, I do. But here's the deal. So based on the amazing detailing of that chapter of the book, I want to build a full-scale model of Jesus' home with Mary, Joseph, and his brothers and sisters, full scale. I want to have the food that they were eating. I want to smell it. I want to have that whole thing full size in this one of the domes. And I think it would be a huge draw.
That'd be bigger than Disney World.
Well,
I think.
I think for a lot of the Christian world.
Yeah, right. No.
Could you imagine? Actually, the psychological feeling of entering this space?
Yeah. Are there other sacred spaces we could enter?
Well, it's funny, Harold, but when people go to the Holy Land,
Van Gogh, painting those paintings, just as the thing Van Gogh.
Van Gogh happens to be my favorite artist in the whole world, so it hit something there.
Was from Arles. He did those. Remember those things? There was the oldest woman ever to live by record in the New York Times about a dozen years ago. And she was 123 years. And she said she was French, and it was reported in the New York. They still report it. She said she was 123, and she said she had quit smoking 2 years ago for her health.
Oh my God!
Yeah. And that she had lived in Arles, and she had a place on the plaza. Good digs,
You can't write that stuff.
No, it's true. It was, and she said that she knew the Divine One. She knew him personally.
God bless her.
Because she was so old. She was there in Arles when he was doing those sunflowers and things or something. And she said she knew him very, very well.
That's incredible.
The great one, the godly, the great, great, great artist. And she said he was a real son of a bitch. I'm shocked. An artist that wasn't.
I never heard that one. That's great.
Angelic. Maybe we shouldn't. Yeah, but she did. She swore that he was a real. I think he used
living,
the word. I don't know. I think she finally passed. That was 10, 12 years ago. People still relate to that. That was all in French.
Your Rancher Book readers don't say die. They say graduated.
Graduated.
They use that all the time, and they don't wear black. When they go to a funeral, they wear colors, and because it's a celebration of your life on earth, and that you've graduated to the next level.
Do they have celebrations like that? Is it like a religion?
Well, you know what they do, Harold? This is something.
Are you guys like a religion?
Well, listen to this. This is something they do. A lot of the places do this. A lot of Ranch Book readers, they have what they call worship services, but it's not like a book service. Like what it is. Harold, we're asking you as your Ranch Book reader, if you were, to do the next worship service. You can do whatever text you want, whatever music you want, if there's bells, if there's candles, scents, it's whatever you feel is appropriate for your version of a worship service.
And that'd be taking a piece from it and reading and
whatever you want, whatever you feel is appropriate.
You can bring sound effects.
Whatever.
You make
Someone from Mexico, you get someone from Africa, you get someone from Switzerland, and they're bringing their culture to the worship services. So every time we have one, it's amazing.
It's a worship service.
They call it a worship service.
You don't call it a church.
No, it's not a church per se, but it's similar. It's similar.
Similar to a church.
Because we love each other.
Iglesia in Spanish, would that work?
Okay.
Iglesia, that's a church. That means church.
Some people would see it certainly as that, but there's no hierarchy. I think that's part of it.
Oh, they're trying
there's
to
no
avoid
like priests or rabbi. It's not like that. It's like everyone who goes are part of the worship service program.
It's democratic? Is it democratic?
How do
you
don't
have a president or something?
No.
Or you don't have a Congress?
Not like
that.
No
Supreme Court?
No.
How in the hell can it function? We have a hell of a time functioning in this world.
Well, and you know how it's going.
Well, that is true. You make a point. How can it do any worse? Yeah, but
what they do have is called the fellowship.
All right, right.
And what that is a place.
I don't mean to be glib.
No,
it's beautiful.
It's wonderful.
No, it's beautiful.
But they provide the website that we were giving out.
Right, you gave that link.
Which is amazingly wonderful to learn more.
Okay.
They also have many what we call societies, your Rancher Book societies, all over not only America but Canada and the world,
really?
South
Do you
America.
Have a convention or something? An annual convention or something?
We do
Disney
have those.
World or something?
Every 3 years we have a
Where
big
do you
one.
have it? Is there a place where you have it?
Different places. We've had it in Canada. We've had it.
No. I don't mean that. I mean like Disney World, or you got to have some place where there's a big hotel. Have they got places where there's an amusement park connected, or what is the
some
place
of it
like?
has been. We've done it in Colorado. We've done it in Florida. We've done it on the West
but
Coast.
Colorado's a big place with lots of forests and stuff. Do you do it out in the
Beautiful.
forest? Do you all go and camp?
Actually,
camp in tents?
the thing that
you got to have hotels and stuff.
Well,
you got to have saloons for people to go and gather.
Well, they have all that.
Okay.
They do have all that, and it's a wonderful. And people from all over the world go. And then they have workshops, and they have worship services, depending upon who's doing it and what they think would be appropriate.
Sounds like a lot of ad hocery. A lot of things just going on just in the moment. Yeah. It's not all structured.
It's not controlled structure.
Right, it's not all
I love that, the fact that it seems very California to me, you know, that very, let's go for the gold, let's do something spontaneous in a way.
California dreaming on such a sucky day, or whatever.
I didn't know you could sing.
I can't, I got a frog in my throat from a cold.
I hope you get over it soon.
Or a toad.
But
anyway,
it's a living, breathing, wonderful book that invites people to share.
Okay.
And it's extraordinary. I mean, extraordinary. I have been so fortunate to have found it in my life.
Yeah. And you've been able to integrate it through that and the disclosure thing too.
Because
you've got a very active, fun, interesting life you're leading.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that true?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is true. I'm very thankful. Do we have time for the clip?
We've only got about 1 minute left.
Oh, okay.
No, wait a minute. Just 1 minute.
Well,
left.
I could just tell you though that the people and
use haiku
in the Disclosure Network have photographed many UFOs, and we've gone to places and seen them with their own eyes, photographed them, and. Anyhow, there's a lot of that in the Disclosure Network New York group.
Okay, yeah.
Amazing people.
And are there references to that in the links you gave earlier?
Yes, and that link will get you to.
And they could do Nick Curto, Curto, and they have links to these kind of things.
You could also do that.
You could get to it all through this fellow. Nick Curto is the name. Happy to have been talking to you again, Nick. We got to keep doing this, and I'm going to hold you to that thing about Skype. I think we have a duty to make sure that we can use Skype to good advantage. Okay?
You got that. Absolutely.
Your pleasure in the audience to have the perception of Nick Curto, a Rancher Book enthusiast and a member of this Disclosure Network. As you can see, a very interesting fellow. Great to talk to you.
My pleasure.
We invite you to tune in. We're coming back again tomorrow. That's it for now. Thank you very, very much. See you tomorrow. Say goodbye to everybody, Nick. Say goodbye. Let's wave goodbye. Goodbye. We'll wave us out. Yeah.